Hi guys, I'm Jonathan Higger. You might have seen some of my other speeches. Anyways, for this informative speech, I've brought you guys to my little recording studio. It's a little humble setup, and the reason why I brought you here is because my informative speech today is going to be about how you can use audio equipment and a little bit of knowledge about sound to make your speech better. The first thing that we're going to cover is how you can articulate your speech differently by alternating maybe your pitch or your tone. The second thing we're going to talk about is how the type of microphone you have and how it's set up can greatly affect the sound quality of the material going into the computer. And the third thing we're going to talk about is how me changing where I'm actually placing this mic in retrospect to my voice is going to change a huge amount of the way the microphone sounds. The last thing we're going to talk about is how I can use some digital effects processing after I record the video to create a thicker sound for my vocals. I'm going to separate this video into chunks because I can't speak for 5 minutes straight, 6 minutes straight. I'm not the best at that. Anyways, this is the end of the first chunk. So, the first thing I wanted to talk about is how you could change your tone and your pitch to make you sound like you're much better at giving speeches than your average person. Pitch is something that could best be illustrated by me changing two pitches. So for example, this is a high pitch, this is a low pitch, this is my regular pitch. Okay? Now I can change these pitches minute amounts to make a sentence have more effect. So for example, I can say, hello, my name is Jonathan. Or I could say, hello, my name is Jonathan. And they have totally two different effects. Another thing that I could do is I can alternate my tone. The best way to illustrate tone would be by showing you two different tones. Now I'm going to stay the same pitch for the sake of you understanding the difference. This is one tone. This is another tone. This is another tone. Basically all I'm doing is I'm changing those little things in my voice to add a certain sound that I want. Now, my favorite example of illustrating how pitch and tone can really add emotion to a sound is by the classic "In a World" example. So this comes from movies, right?
In a world where audio engineers run wild, one audio engineer will rise.
Whatever, you get the idea. The idea is that I'm changing the tone of my voice, and I'm definitely changing the pitch of my voice, so it's a little deep, and it's full, and it has this full effect behind it. And I think that by incorporating these things, maybe not so drastic in an actual speech, you can further increase the amount of emotional effect that you have on your audience. On to the next part. The next thing I want to talk about is how the type of microphone that you're recording through can actually make a huge difference in how your speech sounds. All right, this type of microphone is called an AKG C414 BULS. Now, what's special about this mic, for in concern to you guys, is that it's what we call a condenser mic. A condenser mic will pick up sounds from 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. And this is very important because that spans the entire audible range of human hearing. So that means what you hear on this mic is a lot more similar to what you would be hearing out your own ears if you were listening to me one-on-one in a speech. To illustrate a microphone that doesn't necessarily satisfy this capability, I'm going to switch mics, which I'm also going to switch videos. So just one second. As you guys can hear, this microphone doesn't sound nearly as good. It is an old dynamic microphone, and part of the reason why it sounds bad is because it's old, and part of the reason why it sounds bad is because it's cheap, and part of the reason why it sounds bad is because it's a dynamic. And I'm just using this to show you that the microphone that you have makes a big difference on the perception of your speech. Now that we're back to using my favorite microphone, I can go ahead and show you guys how the distance that I talk from the microphone makes a huge difference in how my voice sounds. For example, as I'm talking here, my voice sounds very thick and in your face, and it might be a little overbearing, or it might sound very rich and good, just kind of depending on what the purpose is. For example, if I wanted to do the whole "in a world" thing, it would sound a lot better up here because it sounds fat and big, and we like that. Now, for a job interview, I think the best thing that you could do is probably speak at a distance like this. The reason why is because you're going to avoid a couple things. When I go like this into the microphone, you can hear it creates a weird sound. However, here you can't hear that, which is very, very helpful because when I'm giving a speech, I don't want to have to worry about how the microphone's going to react to little movements that I have. I want it to sound consistent pretty much wherever I am. Now, as you can hear, when I'm right here, it sounds very, very level. Everything sounds good. It kind of sounds almost like I'm talking to you. Now I'm going to take off my headphones for a second so I can scoot back, and you'll hear when I talk from all the way back here, it sounds a lot different. A lot of what you're hearing is the sound of the room. You can hear when my voice reflects and hits the walls and comes back to the microphone. You can hear it. It sounds big. It sounds unnatural. So for an interview, especially a job interview, I wouldn't recommend talking back here. However, for other circumstances, you might find it a suitable place. Now, we're on to the next part of the video. Haha! So, the few things that I want to summarize is, changing your tone and pitch. You can get "in a world" to sound like
In a world.
Another thing you could do is you can get a different microphone that will make you go from sounding like this
Hi guys, here's my speech.
to this. And as you can hear, it sounds way, way better. Again, I want you to remember that you can always change where your microphone is. I would try to keep it a distance like this for a speech, and that will make it sound a lot better. And the last thing I want to remind you of is that if you want to, you can get very into digital effects processing, and you could really add a very characteristic sound to your vocals that no one else will have. And that will make your speech sound a lot better. I want you guys to have a great day.